The Himalayan town of Kurseong is known as the land of white orchids. Beyond the tea gardens, the sub-district of Dow Hill has acquired a persistent reputation as a center for paranormal activity. A narrow stretch of road, known locally as the Death Road, is characterized by thick pine forests and a heavy canopy. The high-altitude geography produces a consistent, dense fog that frequently limits the visibility ahead to just a few meters. Local folklore centers on a legend from 1925 involving a boy named Atish who was reportedly murdered. Witnesses describe a headless child walking along this road before disappearing into the forest. These sightings have been documented by woodcutters and forest guards who navigate the slopes daily. Their accounts have remained consistent for generations, establishing a record that predates modern internet tourism. Situated within the Dow Hill Forest is Victoria Boys' School, a boarding institution established in 1879. Its physical profile is defined by 19th century Gothic architecture, heavy stone masonry, and timber-supported ceilings. Night watchmen report the sounds of heavy footsteps, quiet whispers, and echoing laughter coming from the dark, vacant corridors. These auditory reports occur during the winter break between December and March, when the building is entirely vacant. The school administration maintains that no student has ever died on the grounds. They have officially dismissed these accounts as rumors that could damage the school's academic standing. The absence of documented tragedy suggests the cause of these sounds lies within the physical environment and the specific seasonal conditions of the extreme mountain winter. Many of these experiences are tied to cognitive priming. Visitors arriving with prior knowledge of the local legends are in a state of hypervigilance, making them more likely to interpret ambiguous visual or auditory stimuli as threats. The physiology of high altitude also affects cognitive processing. Low oxygen levels and changes in atmospheric pressure increase sensitivity to sensory anomalies, often heightening the feelings of dread reported by trekkers in the woods. The forest creates a unique acoustic environment. Sound waves are trapped and refracted by the thick canopy and moist forest floor. This projects mundane sounds from the distant valley back toward the road. To an observer, a snapping branch can sound like footsteps only a few feet away. The combination of fog and specific mountain acoustics creates an environment where the brain consistently misidentifies natural events as supernatural encounters. At Victoria Boys' School, the timing of the hauntings is explained by the building's occupation cycle. Throughout the school year, the noise of hundreds of students provides a constant acoustic layer that masks the building's own structural sounds. When the building is vacated in December, this masking disappears. In the sub-zero temperatures of winter, the timber and stone architecture built in 1879 undergoes thermal contraction, creating rhythmic cracks and creaks that mimic the sound of human movement. The sounds reported by guards are the physical results of a century-old structure settling and shifting in the Himalayan cold. While physics accounts for the sounds, the specific visual figures in these legends, like the Victorian Lady in Grey, have roots in a shift in local culture. The Darjeeling Hills are the home of indigenous Karachi and Nepalese traditions. These cultures describe forest-dwelling shamans called Banjakri and their dangerous counterparts, the Banjakrini. In these traditions, the Banjakri is a protective deity and a teacher who initiates young shamans into the secrets of the wilderness. These figures represented a complex relationship between the community and the natural world. Over a century of colonial influence, these indigenous protective spirits were slowly overwritten by classic British ghost archetypes. The tragic romances and headless students of Victorian Gothic fiction merged with local beliefs to create the modern legends seen today. The current ghost stories of Dow Hill are hybrid narratives, representing a collision between ancient Himalayan shamanism and the history of British imperialism. These hybrid legends are now a primary driver of local tourism. The internet has commercialized the stories of the Headless Boy and the Lady in Grey, bringing a consistent influx of visitors to the forest every October. This growth has led to conflict with local institutions. Victoria Boys' School has implemented strict security measures and protected area signs to keep ghost hunters from trespassing on the campus. The popularity of these ghost stories has also led to the marginalization of the Lepcha and Karate history that defined the area for centuries. As tourists search for Victorian spirits, the original shamanic significance of the forest is increasingly obscured. The atmosphere at Dow Hill remains a product of its architecture, its high-altitude environment, and the residual influence of the cultures that first named this land. In the local Lepcha language, Kurseong translates to the land of white orchids. It's a quiet town tucked into the Himalayas, famous for sprawling tea estates and pristine mountain air. But that beauty has a habit of being swallowed by the fog. Walk into the dense pine forests of Dow Hill, and the atmosphere shifts. Today, this specific stretch of woodland is widely considered the most haunted hill station in India. Local woodcutters and forest guards actively rearrange their daily schedules around the movement of the fog. They make sure to be out of the woods and off these specific roads before 5 o'clock every evening. To understand why, we have to look at the landscape itself. We're going to explore a concept called spectral geographies. By physically descending through 3 distinct zones of Dow Hill, we can map out exactly how these legends function. The hauntings here follow a specific logic. They are geographical traps, born in the exact places where the physical environment collides with a deep cultural fear. Zone 1 begins on a narrow, treacherous path, cutting directly through the high-altitude pines. Locals simply call it Death Road. This is the domain of the Headless Boy. For decades, forestry workers have reported seeing a decapitated child marching mechanically down the direct track. If anyone tries to follow him, the figure fades into the mist, leaving behind heavy silence. The roots of this sighting stretch back long before colonial times to the indigenous Kirati people. Their animist traditions warn of the Bonjakri, short, powerful forest shamans who protect the deep woods and punish those who disrespect the environment. This diagram shows how the environment actively distorts what visitors see. At this altitude, dense fog creates extreme optical scattering. When light hits the thick water droplets in the air, the upper portions of a distant human silhouette, specifically the head and shoulders, are often visually erased, while the legs remain visible. That optical illusion maps neatly onto the ancient warnings of the short, neckless Bonjakri. The environment is creating the exact visual distortion the folklore tells people to fear. The Headless Boy is a physical manifestation of an ancient indigenous warning system. The mountain's misty optics are doing the storytelling. Step off the dirt track and deep into the pines, and you enter our second zone. This is where travelers report being watched by a weeping entity known as the Woman in Grey. Her legend follows a classic tragic arc. A British official's daughter fell in love with a local Kurseong boy. When her father discovered the secret romance, he murdered the boy in the woods. Overcome with grief, the young Englishwoman hung herself among the pines. During the 19th century, Kurseong was built up as an isolated sanitarium. It was a place designed to sequester British colonizers away from the heat, disease, and native populations of the lower plains. Disease still claimed many lives, and the vast, unfamiliar wilderness surrounding these small European enclaves created a pervasive dread among the ruling class. The Woman in Grey acts as a reflection of that isolation. The story projects the real-world anxieties of British families living in sequestered hill stations, a fear of losing their children to the surrounding woods, or to the very populations they sought to keep at a distance. A kilometer away from the forest path sits our third and final zone, the century-old Gothic campus of the Victoria Boys High School. Local lore here is dominated by the story of Atish, a 5-year-old student allegedly murdered and left in the washroom in the 1920s. In 2001, a newly hired night watchman named Prithvi claimed he followed the sound of a crying child to the second floor, only to find a bleeding, necklace apparition laughing at him. Even today, guards patrolling the empty campus during the long winter closures report a terrifying array of phenomena: disembodied whispers, heavy footsteps echoing in the halls, and the autonomous ringing of the main hall bell. This diagram shows how 19th century timber and stone react to Kurseong's freezing winter temperatures. When investigators from the Indian Paranormal Society examined the site, they didn't look for spirits, they looked at material science. The building materials undergo severe thermal contraction. As those heavy wooden floorboards shrink and warp in the cold, they produce sharp, rhythmic snaps. Trapped inside long enclosed stone corridors, those acoustic echoes travel and distort. The human brain, already primed by the eerie setting, easily misinterprets those mechanical groans as footsteps and whispers. Institutional hauntings often follow this exact pattern. We are listening to the physical decay of historical architecture, filtered through the lens of human paranoia. Today, the legends of Dow Hill have created a very real conflict. The rise of viral ghost hunting brought waves of thrill seekers to the area, forcing the school administration to implement strict lockdowns, keeping trespassers out. This influx of westernized horror tourism is actively frustrating local residents. For them, the surrounding woods demand traditional, animistic respect, not digital spectatorship. The layers of memory in Dow Hill, indigenous, colonial, and modern, continuously overlap, creating a landscape where the past feels constantly present. The extreme isolation and heavy mist of this high-altitude environment provide a blank canvas. It's a geography designed to absorb and amplify whatever anxieties you bring into it. These legends act as a living record. They preserve a region's indigenous roots and its colonial conflicts, long after the official history books have been closed.